Has Modi been unfairly targeted? Madhu Gaur Yakshi of the Congress Party, Ami Yagnik of the Congress Party in Gujarat, Devang Nanavati of the BJP in Gujarat, Swapan Dasgupta, senior journalist and columnist. Thank you very much. Consider this, Madhu Gaur Yakshi. Muammar Gaddafi addressed an audience of New York's Columbia University in May 2006. Gaddafi also addressed Oxford University. Recently, the School of Oriental and African Studies, well-known institute in London, invited Musharraf. And in October 2009, Mr. Yakshi, a Dutch parliamentarian called Louis Geert Wilders addressed Columbia. He's a known Islamophobe. He says, I don't hate Muslims, I hate Islams. He's Ireland's rising political star. So if these people have been invited by these universities, how do you support Wharton's pulling back the invitation to Modi?
First of all, there is no invitation from Wharton. It is Indian Economic Forum organized students, Indian student origin or supporters of India organized this group. There is no official invitation. Here, Mr. Modi's tactics or his way of publicity stunts, spending crores of rupees, image build-up practices which is indulged in, which shows that where is the proof that it is, first of all, as I said it, there is no formal invitation from the university. Probably his own people or cronies or war supporters must have managed an invitation from that Indian Economic Group. So we shouldn't have looked at it. And firstly, if you see the visa regulations,
so why is Montek Singh Ahluwalia traveling there? Why is Montek Singh Ahluwalia traveling there? I'm told Milind Deora is traveling there. You have the deputy chairman of the Planning Commission and a minister in your government traveling there, among others. Why are they going there?
Well, if somebody invited them and they want to go,
whom to invite.
Pardon me, Devang is asking you something.
Mr. Ahluwalia,
Mr. Gaur.
Mr. Ahluwalia, neither Milind Deora, never involved or indulged in any kind of genocide. Mr. Modi cannot wash away his hands or his role, his incompetence or his inner conscience allowed thousands of Muslims, minorities massacred.
Let the Congress representative wind up say that Rajiv Gandhi should be charged with the same thing for the Sikh riots, and we will see that Mr. Modi accepts his guilt. If Rajiv Gandhi and the Congress party were to accept their guilt for the 1984 riots,
there is no comparison.
Why is there no comparison? It happened under his watch. He was the Prime Minister of India.
Mr. Modi
for God's sake, he was the Prime Minister of India. And he made a public statement that when a huge tree falls, the ground below shakes.
Mr. Modi directly involved. There is no comparison that.
Answer.
There is
what the Supreme Court has said is not involved.
No
the SIT appointed by the Supreme Court has said
listen to this.
There was no investigation. There was no investigation.
Listen to this.
You listen before you call it a genocide.
You people, you BJP believe in God save policy. We believe in a Gandhi policy.
After 6 decades,
the fundamental difference between you and us.
The Congress will have to take responsibility. That Congress will have to take the responsibility.
Gentlemen, may I please come in, gentlemen? No, 1 second, gentlemen, 1 second. 1 second. 1 minute, allow me. Allow me, Mr. Nanavati. 1 minute, gentlemen, can I come in? No, 1 second. 1 second, gentlemen. Just one moment of ceasefire. Mr. Nanavati, I appreciate your strong views on the subject. But I must say that Mr. Gaur also has the right to have his say. So, gentlemen, I haven't yet gone to Swapan Dasgupta and Ami Yagnik, and I want to. So, may I please request you, express yourself as strongly as possible, but not over each other, please.
Okay.
Just 1 minute, open up the debate. I now go to Swapan Dasgupta. Mr. Swapan Dasgupta, you know, this whole rebranding of Modi, I want you to respond to what you heard Mr. Gaur say. He says Narendra Modi spends a phenomenal amount of money in personal PR. He must have wrangled this invitation from this Wharton Institute as part of his rebranding efforts.
Well, I don't know about wrangled. I mean, if you're making a contention, if you're making a claim, then you should back it. I'm looking at it in a slightly different way. You know, I'm looking at it as the role of a university. You know, Arnab, both of us have attended sort of similar universities where the conflict of ideas, where the contest of ideas, where differences are celebrated, debated, thrashed out and dissected, and where passionate debates take place and people of very, very different persuasions come and address the students. This is part of what we know as the universities. Now, I think there is no need to invite someone and then gratuitously insult the person. Either you don't invite the person, fair enough, you have a pick of hundreds of people. If you think that Montek represents the Indian economy best, certainly you have every right to do so. And call Montek, you could have called others also. But you were not under obligation unless you're suggesting that the sponsorship of Adani made it obligatory for them to call Modi, in which case you're saying that here is a university or a body within a university which has mortgaged its soul to Mammon. And being a business school, I don't think that's very unusual. But it is perfectly in terribly bad taste. It offends every norm of civility which we can. It's almost as bad as, I might recall from history, another similar institution did a very similar thing to another Gujarati. That was the Middle Temple. In 1921, withdrew the license to be a barrister from a gentleman called Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi because he had spoken against the King Emperor, which was not deliberate, which was not in fashion at that time. Were they right? Did it offend what was going on, what was being taught, or what were the traditions of certain institutions? I think what we are seeing today in the case of Narendra Modi is not the politics of Narendra Modi, which is important, and no doubt that will be contested fiercely within India. I'm talking about how low can liberal intolerance descend to, and I deliberately choose my words. This is liberal intolerance.
No, why this sense of celebration, Ami Yagnik? What is the celebration about? I know you are a bitter opponent of Modi, but for God's sake, he's a 3-time democratically elected Chief Minister of India. Why this sense of celebration in the Congress party today, Ami Yagnik?
Who has this track record? There is no celebration. There is no using these kind of words. There is no celebration.
What have you heard?
But let me tell you, many universities across the world and schools within the universities do have these kind of forums. This being an economic forum led by Indian students, they thought of inviting all these people from different places of India and speak at their forum. But they received a lot of petitions, and it was bound that there would be questions that would have to be answered by the keynote
speaker.
Sure,
so let the questions be asked and let him answer.
Away from the compromising position, because an economic model cannot be disjuncted.
Is India not a democracy, or is America not a democracy?
You cannot have a hyped economic reform model and just thrust it there. And so the forum thought that it would be better not to invite the keynote speaker. There's nothing great about it, and no celebration or not to feel bad about it. It speaks a lot. It speaks a lot about why the Indian economic forum is not inviting. It needs introspection rather than calling it a celebration on the other side.
Devang.
Arnab. Yeah, very quickly, 2 quick points. The first is that is this economic forum so naive that they didn't know of the other track records or controversies surrounding Mr. Modi before they invited him, that they needed a few petitions by a few interested groups to decide it? That's a question that needs to be answered. Secondly, on the question of propaganda and creating a PR machinery, please today see why is Mr. Chidambaram using the Google Hangout, and a lot of noise was made out by the Congress party when Mr. Modi did his very successful Google Hangout as compared to what is happening. They are following him like a Pied Piper. The Prime Minister praises him in the National Development Council. The Planning Commission of Montek Singh Ahluwalia, who is going to the forum, praises Mr. Modi and Gujarat's economic development. And then you have Congress party spokesperson coming and saying introspection. Introspection is required somewhere else in the Chintan Baithak where it should have happened instead of crying.
Well, Mr. Madhugad Yakshi, is this the last straw? Is this the last straw of the Congress party, that, you know, the international isolation, so-called isolation of Mr. Modi? Isn't that a dangerous game to play? Because the day it changes, suppose this wall crumbles, then there will be very little to attack him on.
Arnab, there is no role of Congress party, as my Congress party colleague from Gujarat state has mentioned. We have nothing to do with an invitation or cancelling of that invitation. Neither we are worried or concerned about it. And secondly, the so-called development which our friends talking is not only an exception. We have a Congress chief ministers in various states.
No, I don't want to discuss development.
Good job.
I don't want to discuss development track records. I want to discuss whether.
But that is the reason why he was told, because he's talking of a Gujarat model which is not there.
So let there be a debate.
Gujarat model is great. Why you failed in Himachal Pradesh? Why you failed in Uttarakhand?
The debate should be in the legislative assembly. The legislative assembly doesn't assemble.
Ladies and gentlemen.
And Gujarat,
ladies and gentlemen.
Gujarat historically,
ladies and gentlemen.
Right from Indus Valley civilization is a prosperous state.
Ladies
built it on the foundation laid Gujaratis for centuries. He has not done extremely fantastic overnight.
Arnab, it's very funny to see. Arnab, it's very fantastic to see two Congress spokespersons debating each other. But by the way, I must say that this development is so bad. That's why the people of Gujarat rejected the leader of the opposition and the party of the Congress, president of the Congress Parliamentary Party in the last elections. Now that reflects a lot on what the Gujarat people think about the development in Gujarat.
I want Sopan Dasgupta to come back. Yes, Mr. Dasgupta.
Yeah, Arnab, I just want to make a very small point. You know, there was a communication which was issued by this, the organization, whatever it's called, Wharton India, something or the other.
Wharton.
Now, if you go through that communication, if you look at this communication, the formal communication which explained why they had done it, they said that a substratum of our academic ecosystem, which included stakeholders, which included alumni, which included professors, which included a wider community. There was a substratum in that which felt he was a polarizing influence. Now the implication of that is really awful. It means that there has to be a certain degree of correctness which must accompany every single university in the land. At least should accompany the University of Pennsylvania. In other words, anybody whose ideas are contested have no place in that. What is that? I think this is no more than a question of Narendra Modi being asked to deliver a speech through video conferencing or not. And I'm really surprised that this point has not been picked up. And in fact, the Foreign Minister of India, Mr. Salman Khurshid, who comes from a very liberal institution, who's an alumni of very liberal institutions, didn't see the danger signs which were there. And if today we start this process, we approve and endorse this process of banning and this, that and the other.
Mr. Madhugad, Mr. Madhugad, leave Modi aside.
This is at the heart of it. Today, this was an insult. This was a premeditated, gratuitous insult.
What do you mean premeditated? What do you mean premeditated? Are you suggesting?
And to India.
No, one second. What do you mean premeditated? Are you suggesting that even when they invited him, they had decided to pull it back later so that this becomes a news story? Are you suggesting that? You said it's premeditated.
No, I never suggested that. I never suggested that.
No, I
believe that. Tiny fringe pressure group can do this, then it is very, very dangerous. Tomorrow, tiny pressure groups, fringe pressure groups from all over can exercise their muscle power and say, we don't like this, don't have him. Where's the value of education? Where is the value of free thought? Where is the value of discourse?
Mr. God,
goes out of the window. And the United States, which claims to cherish these ideas.
Mr. God, Devang, I'm coming to you after that, because now we are coming to the most important part of the debate. And that's where we are going in. Is there no scope for disagreement? And in the process of taking on Modi, does the Congress party endorse the view that you cannot have any disagreement? There can be no dialectics. There has to only be a central view. One view, and that is seen to be the politically correct view. Any view which disagrees with it must be muzzled in some form. That's the point that's being made here. Quite straightforward way by Swapan Dasgupta. Mr. God, I thought you'd be concerned about it instead of celebrating about it. There has to be disagreement.
First of all, as I said, let me say, Arnab, your word, please kindly correct it. We are least bothered, neither celebrating nor we involved in any way inviting him and cancelling it. No. As I said very clearly.
Have you heard the External Affairs Minister?
I don't feel it's even worth discussing.
No, have you heard the External Affairs Minister? The External Affairs Minister
given to Mr. Modi,
the External Affairs Minister says something to the effect that what has happened in the context of what, and he says this proves that Narendra Modi is not accepted in large sections of the world or something to that effect. If that is not, that may not be celebrating it, he's not physically celebrating, but there is a celebratory air to that comment.
Arnab, it is a fact, he can't get away with his role, his involvement, his inefficiency, incompetency, stopping the genocide in 2002. You can't get away just because.
No, so there can't be disagreement.
If somebody
they can't. So what's the policy now? You believe
if somebody elected?
No, do you believe as a Congress leader that Narendra Modi should not be invited anywhere, not be allowed to speak anywhere? I know that next month, I think there is a conclave happening in Delhi where he's supposed to address people. My straight question to you: are you saying he should not be allowed in that conclave also? That if he's allowed to appear at the conclave now.
If the organizers want to invite him, let him go.
No, don't you feel the more you take him on in this manner, the more you're actually adding to the halo around him?
Who's taking? It is BJP celebrating it. They get an invitation, they celebrate it. The European Union ambassador comes and meets him. The whole BJP boasting about it.
Oh,
what is big thing about it? Why you there? They celebrating Narendra Modi invited by Wharton School. Excuse me, it's not Wharton School.
Devang Nanavati.
There. It's not Wharton School.
Devang Nanavati.
It is them to answer and it is organizers to answer why they invited and why they cancelled it.
Devang, what he's saying is that you've fallen in your own quicksand. 1 minute. He's saying you created this quicksand.
No.
You wanted Modi to get international approval. And hence when he gets snubbed like this, it becomes a big story.
It is BJP desperate to get that approval. It is BJP desperate to get endorsement for Modi.
If Madhu finishes, I will begin.
Yes, Devang.
Okay, now, well, at least on your debate, I hope I'm allowed to speak, unlike Wharton. But anyways, Arnab, on quickly the quicksand, there is no quicksand. Somebody invited a reputed school like Wharton, and especially an India Economic Forum. So therefore, naturally, the invitation would have been accepted by an Indian, and that to an Indian political leader of national repute and of national importance. Secondly, the bigger question that you must ask is, what about India's pride? We may have our differences, we may not agree, we may settle it through elections, through political debates, through if there is a allegation of a crime, through the process of judiciary. But the question is, once you are a constitutionally elected post, which is recognized through free and fair elections by the Election Commission of India in the world's largest functioning democracy,
no, I think
it would be an insult. And the foreign minister, Mr. Salman Khurshid, he must remember that in 1994...
No. 1 second, Devang Nanavati.
Mr. Vajpayee
Devang Nanavati, calling Narendra Modi is not a certificate of your nationalism. I disagree with that view. You don't have to call Narendra Modi. 1 minute, please. Mr. Nanavati, don't stretch the argument. Not on Newsa. No, not on Newsa. Don't stretch the argument. You are making it out to be.
I am saying
that's the problem.
I am saying that
that's quicksand.
If a constitutionally elected chief minister is insulted by a foreign institution, the Indian government must take a strong stand against that. They may have political differences and may not want him to get elected to offices. But allowed that.
Ami Agnik.
Once you are elected, you must respect the post. That's what I am trying to make the point.
Ami Agnik, is it an insult to the nation?
Nationalism into
I feel you are stretching it a bit, but I have a right to seek a response. The suggestion is that cancelling the invitation to Narendra Modi is an insult to the nation or something to that effect.
Whether he is invited or not invited, whether the invitation is withdrawn or not withdrawn. Let us understand that Wharton School is one of the schools in the Pennsylvania University, and there are numerous forums run by students. Now, one of the students...
No, but why are you running it down?
...sent an invitation, and you are going to be speaking by video conferencing. It is your decision to speak, and if the student body feels that they are going to be put to some kind of an embarrassment by several kind of questions, because they will be a part of those discussion, and they thought that they should withdraw it. Why should the student body be...
Okay, Suresh Prabhu joins the debate. This debate is getting interesting. This debate is getting interesting. 1 minute. 1 minute, Ami Yagnik, 1 minute. Suresh Prabhu joins me now. He's a former Union Environment Minister. Mr. Prabhu, good evening. I hope I'm audible. This is Arnab Goswami here, sir. Mr. Prabhu. Oops, just lost the line there with Mr. Prabhu. I was just about to ask you, in any case, Madhu God, what do you make of Suresh Prabhu also backing out? What do you make of the Adani Group withdrawing its sponsorship? What does that tell you?
My friend Suresh Prabhu is from Shiv Sena, is alliance partner of BJP. Mr. Adani, you want me to list the kind of favors and soaps Mr. Adani got it from Mr. Modi, getting in a land at a throwaway price, and the Adani Energy, even the 2012 CAG reported how Mr. Gautam Adani Energy Group is a Public Accounts Committee of Gujarat Assembly unanimously, how the crores of rupees have given away, and Gautam Adani Energy Group, how he got it, how favors he got it. Obviously, it's close friendship with Mr. Modi, so you must have felt it. So to cancel it.
What do you say to Suresh Prabhu? Suresh Prabhu.
And first of all,
what would you say to Suresh Prabhu? 1 minute.
Yeah. It's an insult to the nation here.
Mr. Prabhu, Madhu God Yakshi of the Congress party is on this debate, and he feels that you're simply following your leader. Because you believe he's a senior BJP leader, you are a BJP ally, you're simply following in his footsteps by deciding to opt out of the Wharton Summit. Would you like to respond to the Congress, please?
You know, this is no politics in it. It's a very simple thing. This is not the first time I'm attending a seminar like this. I've been attending this at least 50 times in a year in different parts of the world, in US, in Europe, in Japan, in Singapore, in China. So this is not a new thing. What is unique about it is that you invite a person after due consideration. Nobody forced you to invite a particular person for an event. You invite a person who is none other than a chief minister of a state, who is elected by the people 3 times in a row, and under the Constitution of India by election commission which is supervising this election. And then last minute you withdraw it. And what is the event? The event was essentially talking about economic progress, economic reform, economic development of India. India has been growing at 4.8% in the last quarter and not more than 5% as the Chidambaram said in his budget speech. And the Chidambaram himself said that the Moola mantra of this is growth. So we need to find out why Gujarat is growing.
Do you feel you overreacted?
Of rest of the country.
Did you overreact? Is there a moral obligation on Wharton to continue to invite Narendra Modi? Are you making it a moral issue?
No. Not at all. No, it's not moral. It's very simple issue. If Arnab, if I invite you home at 7 for dinner, and 6:45 tell you don't come for dinner because I don't like you, what do you really feel? It's a very simple issue. Nobody told Wharton that you should invite A, B, C, D. They decided to invite whoever they wanted to invite. That was the collective wisdom of the organizers. Having decided that, if there is going to be a superimposing authority which is going to decide that no, we should not invite A, but invite Z, then it's not the right thing to do.
No, but what has it got to do with national honor? Just pushing the envelope with you. It's a personal issue. Wharton is a private business school. The university students have a free choice of who to invite and not to invite. Okay, it's bad manners, but why are you making such a big deal of it?
Exactly.
No, 1 second.
Correct.
That's exactly. That's my question.
Let me explain. No, please. Can you listen to me, please?
Please, Madhu, listen to
Wharton feels that it is. No, please. Wharton feels that inviting somebody as a person in that particular forum is something to do, has to be compatible with the values of Wharton. If that is so, if the institution is so important, is the country less important than an institution? If somebody is an elected representative from India, Chief Minister of India, one of the 28 Chief Ministers in the country, elected by the Constitution of India under the supervision
Answer
of the Election Commission of India. Is it something which is
Answer
now, are you then saying that water is more important than the Indian country?
Mr. Prabhu, let the Congress answer that. Ami Yagnik or Madhu Gaud? First, Ami Yagnik. Madhu Gaud wants to answer that. Madhu Gaud is replying to you, sir.
Now, this issue has nothing to do with either the Congress or the nation. India is not feeling insulted because this is a personal matter, and the body of the student decided to call somebody who is saying that Gujarat is an economic
How is it a private
when
matter?
They made a wrong choice, or they might
How is it a private matter?
Petitions that came from all over the world. Maybe the petitions were signed by people with lot of supporting documents.
How can you decide what India represents?
Now there are numerous forums who invite
We are
people
also
day in
Indians.
and day out. If the invitation is withdrawn, you should not feel bad about it.
No, but Ms. Ami Yagnik, how come you are trying to play it down
now? The United States has no role. He can't even influence the school, what is school.
I am giving a view. Otherwise, Congress is not concerned with this invitation or withdrawal of the invitation.
But I think the initial Congress response was gleeful. And gleeful would be an understatement. Yes, Madhu Gaud.
Let me quickly answer first. Even the President of the United States has no role, neither he can influence what in business school, whom to invite. It is a completely private university, it's a private matter. Number two, my dear friend, Mr. Suresh Prabhu keep on, our BJP representative keep on saying, Mr. Modi is third time elected, it is been ratified by the Election Commission. Let me make it clear. The criminal procedure code, just because we've been elected, if the case is pending, if somebody is criminally tried, that doesn't validate or exonerate your involvement in the crime.
Mr. Madhu Gaud, can I ask you something?
Just because you've been elected,
can I ask you something?
Just because you're elected, you can't say that all his involvement in criminal conspiracy or his inefficiency as the Chief Minister of
Swapan Das Gupta.
Is there a case against
not
Mr. Modi?
protecting.
Mr. Gaud, Swapan Das Gupta's question. Swapan Das Gupta's question.
Is there a case against Mr. Modi? Is there a case against
There is
Mr.
enough
Modi?
investigations going on. There's enough. The point is, I'm asking you, Mr. Gaur, there might be enough evidence to suggest that you are playing footsie with the Telangana on one hand and playing loyalist on the other hand. Does that make you disloyal? Mr. Gaur, let us be consistent. There is a lot of evidence we can say on various things on the strength of the point is there is no case against Mr. Modi. But I think there is an important point. We say, Mr. Gaur, unlike you, unlike many of your colleagues in the Congress Let him
party,
answer why, Mr. Das Gupta, I respect you a lot. Why is not answering the CAG report? It is a BJP double standard. On CAG report, you are asking an investigation and inquiry.
Mr. Gaur, are you saying that Mr. Modi was told not to go to Wharton because of CAG? Is that what you are trying to say? Look,
you saying there's no case.
Unlike many of your
Das
colleagues
Gupta,
in the Congress party who've been to Wharton.
There's no scams in Gujarat government.
I am saying there is no case against Mr. Modi.
There is no involvement. Are you saying
I have a question.
Mr. Modi was the Chief Minister in 2002 or not? When Godda took place as a Chief Minister of Gujarat, what was his role? Protecting his citizens, particularly those minority families who've been genocided.
But there is no case. There is no case.
I want to ask a simple question.
There is no case. The point is.
I have a very simple question.
There is an important point.
I have a simple question.
You did allude to it.
I have a very simple question.
When you said that it is a private university. When you said it's a private university, Mr. Gaur. Now, I know a lot of your colleagues in the Congress party have been to this private university.
How anyone can influence what in school?
That a lot of Indians have given large endowments to this university. Now, I think it is incumbent upon Indians to actually look upon it and say, is this Wharton College going to be our Supreme Court? Are they the Supreme Court of India? Are they going to adjudicate the rights and wrongs of Indian politics? And subsidized on the donations paid by a lot of industrialists, including one very big industrialist who claims it is a Gujarati enterprise. I think these are questions which need to be asked.
No, I have one question for you, Mr. One question for the Congress party.
Needs to be punctured.
One question.
I don't know anything about across the Atlantic.
One question.
But I find it astonishing.
One last question. One question. Are we suggesting today that getting an invitation from this Indian group at Wharton University, because the foreign minister himself responded and many others did, is far more significant, important than getting elected 3 times as the chief minister of your state. Are we suggesting that?
It is.
No,
That's the BJP.
No, why I'm saying.
Probably.
No, let me ask you.
That's why they're so eager to get an endorsement internationally for Mr. Modi.
One minute.
Why they're so desperate?
Devang Nanavati. No, you avoided my question.
We are not eager. We are today concerned. No,
let that university, the group which
Mr.
invited,
we are not eager to get an invitation. We were not eager to get an invitation.
You are desperate. You are showing desperate.
No, Mr. God.
This shows the despotism to get an endorsement from Mr. Modi.
You are desperate, worried that Mr. Modi is going to come to Delhi. So let's not get into that. We are more worried about the insult that has been heaped on our elected leader.
Neither he has a pan-India image nor a leadership.
And if our leader is insulted,
at what cost? And what
that is okay.
kind of what style of functioning Mr. Modi involved, we know
that the elections will decide. That's why you can of course today on this channel along with Mr. Adani say that Mr. Tata, Mr. Ambani, Mr. Godrej, Mr.
Please get an approval from Nagpur.
They are wrong.
Get an approval from Nagpur
that we will worry.
Your headquarters from Nagpur, get an approval.
Mr. God, have you got approval to come here from 10
You believe in a Godse theory, ideology. We believe in a Gandhiism.
We don't believe in any Godse theory. Don't teach me Gandhiism. We know more about Gandhiism than you can ever do.
Bottom line is this.
Just by
bottom line is this.
You don't become followers of Mahatma Gandhi.
Mr. Nanavati.
Don't get into that.
Mr. Nanavati.
Get an approval from Nagpur first.
Well, I think there's got to be introspection.
Yeah, that we will worry about it. That we'll worry about it. Whom to get an
talk about whether it is national role for Mr. Modi or not.
The point, Arnab, is that CAG reports are being mentioned. Here's a party who's involved in 2G, who's involved in CWG, who's involved in Colgate. So
please answer CAG report on Gujarat.
The pride of India.
Please answer Gujarat. CAG report on SR Group.
No. Why?
SR Group, Adani Energy and Reliance Group.
Charity begins at home.
Answer to the CAG report of 2012.
Gentlemen, this is a very touching moment.
Indicting your Modi government.
This is a touching
giving
moment.
Away public property worth of crores of rupees.
This is an important moment.
Answer to that.
You are sounding desperate, Mr. Gord. You are running from
Mr. Nanavati, 1 minute. Mr. Nanavati, 1 minute. Mr. Nanavati, 1 minute. Mr. God, 1 minute, please. Both of you have taken such a liking to each other today on the course of the news that I am beginning to get concerned at this bonhomie.
No, Arnab, 1 second.
No, I only...
Arnab, let me be very clear. There is no personal dislike or liking. It is only our views which are disliking each other. There is no personal disliking here.
Well, your
views. At least I speak for myself.
Yes.
I am not going to withdraw any invitation to Mr. Gord if there is one.
And Mr. Gord,
welcome to expect his views.
Mr. Gord,
I am welcome.
Mr. Gord, Mr. Gord, Mr. Gord, 1 minute, calm down. I have something to say to Mr. Gord.
Arnab, listen to me. I'll make it lighter. As Benjamin Disraeli said, I disagree with everything that Mr. Gord says, but I will defend to death his right to say it. Let him say that about Mr. Modi, and I'll feel happy about Mr. Gord.
Yes, and Mr. Gord, on another note, well said. Mr. Gord, I want to tell you one thing.
I think, Devang, it was Voltaire who said it.
Yeah, I think it was Voltaire who said it.
Voltaire.
Very well corrected by the...
Arnav, please let me speak for a minute.
Well, yes, Miss Yagnik, but, yes, okay. You want to quote a CAG report, another one from the centre?
Don't you think this is making a mole out of a mountain? A student body invites and withdraws. Why do you bring the nation and Congress in this and make a huge thing out of it? The person needs to have introspection. Why such a thing has happened? And why can't he break free from the 2002? Because questions would have been asked about 2002. And the student body was concerned.
I'm absolutely...
Why make a mole out of a mountain?
I'm absolutely convinced that I lack any ability to put words in the mouth of Law Minister Salman Khurshid, who said earlier that it is... External Affairs Minister, who has said that it is a matter of concern to our country that there is a serious question mark on a personality of somebody who leads a major state in the country. It is sad that we have that, and I hope that the person concerned will reflect upon this, why the world thinks so poorly of him. These are the words in the past of the External Affairs Minister. The issue has been made big not by the media. There is a certain interesting chemistry going on between the Congress and Mr. Modi. I'm not saying Congress and BJP, which we in the media, it's our job to report on. But I hope that answers that sufficiently. Interesting times we live in. Thank you very much.
I don't think so there is any chemistry going. Mr. Modi is obsessed with the Congress and puts allegations.
I don't know who's obsessed with whom, but I agree there is a level of obsession on both sides. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for joining me.